For the 9th consecutive year, Manchester City enters as the favorite to win the English Premier League. They are plus 125 favorites this year, the first time they aren't odds-on favorites in 7 years. They are going for their record 5th straight championship. They open their season Sunday against Chelsea. While they are the favorites to win their league, ESPN BET has also taken a lot of money on them to be relegated. Now, Man City is facing a potential significant points deduction due to breaking Premier League rules. A hearing is set to begin in September. Man City is now plus 750 to be relegated at ESPN BET after opening at 15-1. Time to welcome in one of my favorite guests of this show.
Liar!
No, Dan
You
Thomas,
said that to
the man
everyone.
himself. We actually had to pull him from another building just to come over and do
Oh, yeah,
this.
exactly.
Yeah. So would you be comfortable betting Man City to win the Premier League this year, knowing that they could, be hit with sanctions at any point?
It's really tricky, isn't it? Because we're kind of in the unknown. There are so many question marks about what's going to happen when this hearing starts in September. Probably won't finish, by the way, until January or February, so it will not be a quick fix. And indeed, if they're found guilty, we saw the likes of Everton, Nottingham Forest deducted points last season, but as you quite rightly say, could get even worse. If they're found guilty of these 115 charges, it wouldn't just be point deduction, it would be relegation into the second tier of English football. That's why you've got to be so careful, and why you get a little bit of value, as you say, compared to other seasons. For the first time, they're not odds on to go on and win the league. This is why.
All right, well, ESPN BET has a prop out there. Man City plus 125 versus
Yep.
the field, which is at minus 160. Do you think the field is a good bet? If so, what teams would be on your radar?
Okay, so you look at the field, you think 19 teams. Right, forget that. It's really one, maybe two at a stretch. You've got Arsenal, who are definitely the biggest competition for Manchester City this season. They went so close last year, got 89 points last year, which should really be enough to go on and win the title. Manchester City's got an incredible run. It's whether or not Arsenal have what it takes to cross the line at this campaign. You could throw in Liverpool, but there is so many changes going on at Liverpool with their manager, long-time manager, legend of the club, Jurgen Klopp leaving. So Arsenal very much deserve to be second favourites. It's going to be a two-horse race between Manchester City and Arsenal. And personally, I think if you're going to have a bet this time, because of the anomalies around Manchester City's start to the season, this, by the way, could be Pep Guardiola's last campaign for Manchester City. He goes into his last year of his contract. So I would say Arsenal are the bet to win the Premier League. A little bit of value there ahead of City.
All right, another fun way to bet Premier League futures is a team to finish, in the top four. Are there any teams outside of the top four favorites that you could potentially see winning this?
Okay, so you take a look at the odds here, and you've obviously got Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool. That's your top three. I think that's pretty much a layup. Now, who's going to finish fourth? Chelsea are an absolute dumpster fire at the moment. Stay away from Chelsea. It's an absolute mess. You look at Manchester United, so many questions as well over them. Tottenham, Postecoglou's second season, of course, did well last season, but now he's got European football to deal with. I like Newcastle. Newcastle at plus 200 to finish top four, which of course they did 2 seasons ago. Last season they struggled with injuries and struggled with Champions League football as well as Premier League football. So as a result, they haven't got any European commitments this season. I like Newcastle to finish in the top four alongside Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City.
Okay, well, Erling Haaland is the odds-on favorite to lead the league in scoring at minus 150.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else worth a play?
No.
This is the play?
Haaland is your man, because everything we've said about Manchester City, points deduction, hearing, all that, it doesn't stop Erling Haaland playing, and it doesn't stop Erling Haaland scoring goals. So Manchester City could be deducted 100 points, but if he gets 40 goals this season, it won't make any difference to the betting. Haaland definitely your man. You look at others, maybe Isak for Newcastle. I think you're struggling there to see the tally that Haaland will get. Mohamed Salah, obviously, always in the conversation when it comes to Liverpool, but for me, Erling Haaland is definitely the bet to be the top goal scorer this season.
All right, well, do you have an opening weekend play for the people?
Now, it's interesting. We've talked a lot about Manchester City and whether or not these charges, when you're found guilty, if they get relegated, blah, 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 blah. Right, let's focus, as you say, on the short term. They're at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, and you may have heard me say that Chelsea are an absolute mess at the moment. A disaster. Goodness, it's like looking at your DMs. It's just horrible, Erin. So you take a look at this.
Can't be worse than that, Dan. Come on.
and Manchester City go to Stamford Bridge. They've got enough going good for them compared to Chelsea. We're here in the States. They were terrible in pre-season, conceded goals for fun. Manchester City looked great value, minus 120 to pick up 3 points in the opening game of the season against Chelsea.
All right, you heard the man. Man City money line. Thank you for joining ESPN Bet Live. We're so happy to have you.
Hey, no worries. No worries. I'll see you next season.